So today's talk title is Rise Up and Live. And it's been an interesting couple of weeks watching the minister's listserv, because Easter is a traditional Protestant Christian holiday. And it's been interesting watching us as ministers figure out, how do we address that in New Thought? Do we address that in New Thought? Do we even celebrate holidays in New Thought? I'm thinking, you're not getting Christmas, I want presents. Just telling the truth. I like the Easter bunny. Just saying. And so what came up for me is I sat with my whole human history with this holiday called Easter. And I was raised very Protestant, very conservative, very Christian, very fundamentalist. And I've read the Bible cover to cover more than 4 times. I quit counting after 4. And I love the Bible. And I love it differently than it was taught to me. The Bible is actually a library. It's not a book, it's a library of books. And the thing that I constantly go back to is that it's someone else's interpretations of events that I wasn't at. So how do I know? See, and I challenge myself with how do I know from that place where I like to discount it, where I like to say it wasn't true. Well, how do I know? See, I'm not going to jump on board with it's absolutely true, but maybe I have to get off my position that it's not true. Because what if it is? What if it happened exactly the way they said it happened? I can tell you from being a deputy, 10 people can watch the same accident. I interview all 10 people, and I wonder what they all saw, because they're not talking about the same thing. But they all witnessed the exact same event. So maybe, is it possible, can I wrap myself around, that's what's happening in the Bible? That maybe events actually did happen, and what we're looking at are someone else's interpretation, someone else's experience of them. There's no doubt in me that a human being named Jesus lived. There's no doubt in me. Can I prove it? Nope. Never shook his hand. Never had him over for dinner. Never met him. So I can't prove it. And I don't care. The life of Jesus has a tremendous amount of teachings for me. And the more deeply I look at this crucifixion process and the resurrection, I see humanity today absolutely no different. I see the greatest teaching of oneness and a refusal to move out of oneness for any reason that I have ever read. Last week we touched on, as Jesus was coming into Jerusalem, there was a celebration. Everybody's waving palm branches and putting things on the ground so that he's not traveling through dust. He's celebrated. And a few days later, the same crowd is screaming, "Crucify him, crucify him." How often have I celebrated and then screamed for someone's crucifixion? Different words. How often do we love something when it's convenient, and then when not so much, or we start feeling peer pressure or group consciousness, then we flip because it's challenging to be the one in the group that doesn't do that. Group consciousness can get really scary. One-on-one, people seem really open and unbigoted. And in a group, things change. What were they after Jesus for? He messing with the power structure. Quite literally. That's really what he was guilty of. The Pharisees and the Sadducees recognized real quickly, if all of the people start listening to what he's saying and wake up, we can't control them anymore. What do we teach? You are the thinker in your own mind. Stop being controlled by conditions. Same thing Jesus was teaching. He knew what was coming. You know, I grew up hearing that Jesus never had a moment of doubt. I see evidence that that's not true. In the Garden of Gethsemane, twice, he's like, if there's some way for me to not have to do this, I don't want to do it. I do not want to be crucified. And what he heard in his heart was, this is yours to do. How often do we hear what's ours to do and run? He had that option. He had every option to run. He stood in what was his to do. In the most hard path that I can even wrap my mind around. And they tried to trip him up by asking him questions. He didn't defend. He didn't argue. He flipped it on them. He said, I'll answer your question if you answer mine. And what he asked him was John's baptism of God or of man? Now they knew if they answered that it was of man, that the crowd would go against them because they'd be blaspheming God. They also knew if they said it was of God, then they couldn't discredit John's teachings. So they're kind of in a bind. And so they said, I don't know. It's a nice out. I don't know. And so Jesus said, good enough. I'm not answering your question either. But he didn't defend. He didn't argue. He knew what was true and he simply stood in it. What are you defending? Where are you finding other people wrong? And why? Because if it's all God all the time, where does wrongness live? In my opinions, in my judgments, in my separation. See, I don't think Jesus died for my sins. I think he was murdered by our sins. That's what I think. And I say ours because if there's only one, part of me was there. See, not in this human form, but in the oneness of creation, I was there. So were you. I was the Sadducee. I was the Pharisee. I was the one celebrating. I was the one condemning. I was the one screaming, crucify him. And I was the one being crucified. Wrap your mind around that a minute. If one is all there is, and time and space is a creation of humanity, and spirit is never bound by that, the essence of us, creation itself, was there. So we know that part inside. I want to invite you to consider for just a minute this concept of crucifixion. That crucifixion, whenever I speak against myself or anyone else, I'm crucifying them. because I'm speaking against the truth of who they are. I am killing their character. I am killing their reputation. And be really clear, folks. You can't say something about somebody else and not say it about yourself. There's only one. But we get lost in the appearance of separateness. We think this is our actual identity. It's easy to think that Rafe is an individual. I'm not. I'm an individualized expression of one. So we're going to take a little journey this morning. And what I invite you to do is go inward. And what we're going to do in a very short, very concentrated period of time is bring to mind all of the mistakes that you can possibly think of. All of the mistakes that you've made, that someone else has made, that someone has said against you, that you've said against someone else. And imagine yourself not defending your own crucifixion. Imagine yourself when you are accused simply saying your words or being silent. And imagine taking on all of that from a place of love, from a place of oneness, from a place of surrender, knowing that the example of love that you are living is healing all of life. Imagine yourself literally, all of those mistakes, whether they're put against you or ones that you think you've committed, as a wooden cross. On your shoulder, across your back, carrying it uphill on an unpaved path. Imagine that you might feel like you're walking on marbles, unable to still the earth beneath your slipping feet. Imagine the thoughts racing through your head as you're taunted. Can you feel your heart begin to pound? And what if that pounding in your heart is the divine, is creation itself calling you to a deeper experience of love, a deeper experience of oneness? Will you say yes? What if everything inside and outside of you feels like you are walking into the dark night of the soul and you can no longer see the light? Will you say yes? If God really is everything and everywhere, this journey of crucifixion must also be a journey of the divine. Will you allow Spirit to wake you through your own crucifixion? Will you say yes? Will you allow what you have identified as your identity to fall away? To know yourself anew as one with all life. Faith is the belief in things not seen. Will you have the faith to know that no matter what pain is happening, that it is love that's actually happening? Your faith is calling you. Will you answer? Compassion for others is calling you. Will you answer? Allow yourself to feel the weight that Jesus must have felt that day. Imagine his humanness wanting to flee. And imagine the love within him. I got this. I got this. God, Spirit, the divine, it is calling you to be bigger than you ever imagined you can be. To get there, you have to let go of who you think you are. It's limited. You're so much more. Will you say yes? I invite you to embody every experience that you can imagine. Feel the weight of it. And know that it's the activity of love. I invite you to take this walk of crucifixion, knowing it's a call to a deeper experience of love.
Something's calling me. Something's calling me. Something's calling me. A little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feel like I'm walking on marbles. Can't steal the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling. I can feel my heart begin to pound. And everybody said, something's calling me. Little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me. Little bit deeper than I've ever been before.
Listen from your heart.
Long dark night, my soul it wanders. Can't see the light that moves me. God is everything and everywhere that I belong. Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Something's calling me. Little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me. A little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, oh Lord, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, pull me deeper than I've ever been before. Oh Lord, I know I'm not the only one to live inside these blues. Oh Lord, I surrender my life to you. Oh Lord,
To be birthed, we must surrender.
I give my love to you.
When you say yes, we can meet our surrender in gratitude. So there we are, broken, shattered. Life as we knew it is no more. Feel yourself entombed in every lie you've ever told. Every lie you've ever believed. A tomb structured and sealed by unforgiveness, by resentment, by hatred. Feel the darkness around you as the stone seals your tomb. Your heart is the place of courage. That's where life is born. Tell your heart to beat again. Tell your heart to wake up, to stand in the courage of love and rise. Tell your heart to beat again, to rise up and live. This tomb is not your home. It is your creation. Rise up. Rise up and live.
Shattered like you've never been before. The life you knew in 1,000 pieces on the floor. Your words fall short in times like these, when this world drives you to your knees. You think you're never gonna get back to the you they used to be. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Say goodbye to where you've been, and tell your heart to beat again.
See the stone rolled away. See the light.
Just let that word wash over you. It's alright now. Love's healing hands have pulled you through. So get back up, take step one. Leave the darkness, feel the sun. 'Cause your story's far from over, and your journey's just begun. Tell your heart to beat again.
Rise
Close your
up.
eyes and breathe in. Let the shadows fall.
Rise up and live your truth.
Yesterday's a closing.
Nothing in the past holds you anymore.
Say goodbye to where you've been, and tell your heart to beat again. Let every heart break,
Let him go.
and every scar be a picture that reminds you who has carried you this far. 'Cause love sees further than you ever could. In this moment, heaven's working everything for your good. Tell your heart to beat again.
Stand in
Close
love.
your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace.
Rise up and live. Love is your birthright.
Say goodbye.
It's yours. It's who you are.
Your heart to beat
Rise up and live.
again.
rise up and live your life. And so in this place of oneness, in this beautiful place of rising, in this experience of oneness, embracing all of it, what I know is that there is only one of us here. And it knows itself, and it experiences itself, and it trusts itself to each of us. It loves us so much that it trusts its experience of its life as our choice. And so in this moment, I speak my word on behalf of all life. Because if there's only one, I have the power to do that. And I stand in that power and in that love and claim a realization of oneness, a letting go of every sense of separation that is the pain of humanity. And as I say that, I feel my heart expand. And I feel gratitude move through every fiber of my being, because my being recognizes the truth when it's spoken. And what is true is that love is all there is. And so I say yes to letting go of defendedness. I say yes to knowing who I am. And as I know who I am, I know who all are. And I say yes to seeing only that, to loving that, to nurturing that, to calling forth the very best, and speaking no word against anyone or anything. Grateful for this opportunity to be a channel for the divine to teach its wisdom. Grateful to learn as the words come out of my mouth. Grateful to feel the resonance with every fiber in my being. When truth is known, it is known. It needs no defense. And so from this place of gratitude, I release my word into that activity of law that already made it so. Made it so in the beginning, and it has been so every moment since. And so we simply claim it. And I invite you, if any of today has resonated with you, if you are ready to rise up and live, if that is the yes of your heart, that you join me as we anchor this together by saying, and so it is.